Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with episode number 30 of Just Jets. Boy, I'm excited to get this thing going. We have a lot to get to today. We're going to do realistic expectations and voicemails. But before we get started, you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Matt O'Leary NY. We're doing exclusive content over there. We're doing pregame live streams. We're doing Q&As. We're doing articles, a whole bunch of different stuff. It's been a lot of fun so far, dabbling in that. And I'm excited for that to continue on over. And last but certainly not least, we got to get to it. Manscaped. Promo code JETS20. You can get yourself something nice like the Lawnmower 3.0. You can use it in the shower. It has skin-safe technology. It's really, really a good product, and you should check it out, manscaped.com. And use promo code JETS20. You'd help me out a lot, and appreciate it, all the support. So let's jump into the episode. And, one more housekeeping thing. So, the podcast usually comes out every Monday. With games returning next week, which is awesome, love that. I usually record on Sundays. I don't see how it's going to be possible for me to cover the game, do a post-game recap video, and then do a full-length podcast. So, what I'm going to do is we are going to switch the drop date to the middle of the week. Wednesdays, the episodes will come out, and the reason for that is it'll give me enough time to cover the game, as I need to on Sunday. And then we'll be able to talk about the upcoming game a little bit more because we'll know more about the opponent. We'll know more about injuries by Wednesday as opposed to reacting, on Sunday night or early Monday. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So we are moving the day and recording times and stuff like that around a little bit. I think it's going to be necessary. So it's going to drop on Wednesdays now instead of Mondays. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll switch it back to Mondays in the off season. You guys seem to like that on Mondays, but I just think right now it makes sense to do it in the middle of the week so that we can, talk about the game that passed and talk about the game coming up as much as possible, which is crazy that the games are coming back already. Absolutely love it. So let's get into the episode today. What I want to get to is a realistic point of view. I did optimistic view a couple of weeks ago. Last week I did a pessimistic view. Now I want to give what my realistic view for the season is. And just to jump right out and give a record, I think 7-9 or 8-8 is the realistic view. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, this is a team that could win double-digit games if things break right. I mean, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I think that's, when you look at the roster, a little bit rich to think that they're going to win double-digit games. Maybe if everything breaks right, they can get to 9, but I don't think with their roster as it's currently constructed or on top of the roster, just the tough schedule that they have, I don't see how you are winning double-digit games. I also don't see how this team is just a 4-win team. I understand that they probably should have went 5-11 last year with a pretty easy schedule. They beat Duck Hodges in week 16, and then in week 17 beat the Bills backups. So that 7-9 looks a little bit different than what it really felt like for the entire year. I just think that Darnold, if he plays a full 16 games, will make a huge difference for this team. We saw what he can do healthy, and we know what he can do when he gets good protection. And I think the Jets overall will have a much better protection around him, which is great. I'm still a little bit concerned with the playmakers. There's no denying that. But at the end of the day here, I think when you look at Sam Darnold, if he plays a full 16 games, which, again, now I could get into my Darnold prediction or realistic view for Sam Darnold, I think he should, at minimum, throw for 3,800 yards. I think maybe he can push 4,000. I would be, I think, surprised if he pushes 4,000 or 4,100 yards. Down the line, I don't know if I'd be too surprised about that. But in his first 16-game season at 23 years old, that'd be phenomenal if he hits 4,000. I think at minimum, though, 3,800. I'll say 3,800 for minimum. I think he hits at least 25 touchdown passes. He was on pace for, I believe, 22 or 23 based on last year. And I think the interceptions come down a little bit. I don't think he's an interception per game player. I think maybe around 12 seems about right. I don't think he's going to be a single-digit interception guy. He's someone who takes chances, which I'm okay with. if the numbers start to go up, which I believe they should. And the yards per attempt, he's been at 6.9 his first 2 years. I think we see that go up into the sevens, which is more reasonable for a quarterback of his caliber. So I think he does prove that he is the franchise guy this year, even if the team struggles in terms of the win and loss column. But I think he proves that he is the guy, which is exactly what we're looking for. As far as the offensive and defensive rankings, that's what I want to get into also for my realistic view. I think offensive-wise, this is probably going to be a 20 to 25 in the league offense. And the reason for that, in my eyes, is because of the play caller. I don't trust Adam Gase as a play caller. I really don't. Outside of playing with Peyton Manning, he hasn't had a ton of success in this league when he is calling the plays. Let's call it what is. And there seems to be excuses and circumstances for him each and every year, whether it's something with injuries or his guys aren't around. There's always something. But I don't see how, with your starting outside receivers as Rashad Perryman, a rookie Denzel Mims, and believe me, I like the Mims pick a lot. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. I just don't know how he's going to be able to hit, a starting outside receiver numbers, like 800 plus receiving yards in year one with basically no training camp or no preseason games. I don't see how he hits that. Jamison Crowder is a good slot player, but outside of Jamison Crowder, beyond that on the depth chart, you're asking a lot out of guys who have either been has-beens in Chris Hogan or in these young guys who are really unproven, the Jeff Smiths of the world or Malones of the world, or all the guys that we were able to see when we were looking at this team in training camp with all the injuries that were taking place. It was a little nerve-wracking in training camp when we were able to see, him throwing to Cager and Malone, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? The season's a couple of weeks away. Now it's less than a week away, which is nuts, and we're getting in there. But I think you're looking at around the 20th to 25th ranked offense. Yes, I think the offensive line has improved. I think it still needs work on the interior. I don't think either starting guard is a long-term solution. I think they're going to look to add to that. Maybe Cameron Clark can be that guy for the Jets going forward. Maybe they look in the draft or free agency. We'll see there. And I'm worried about the playmakers. Last thing on the offense before I get to the defense, Le'Veon Bell. So I think he'll be better, but I do think that this is probably his last year with the Jets. I think they'll look to move on from him. Do I think it's the right move? I don't know. It's tough to say, but I think he gets around 1,000 rushing yards, maybe a little bit over, and about 500 to 600 receiving yards. So I think he's going to be around 1,600 all-purpose yards. And I think that's, pretty solid, but I don't know if they're going to, or if Joe Douglas is going to value that enough to pay him what he's going to get. Maybe he takes the cap savings and they look to go somewhere else at the running back position, but we'll see. And that's going to do it for the offense. I'm excited about Herndon too. So that I think we'll see something good out of Chris Herndon if he stays healthy and on the field. As for the defense, a lot of people are saying like this is going to be a garbage unit, and I think other people are saying like, oh, this is a top 10 unit still. I find myself somewhere in the middle. I think they're going to drop off a little bit. I see them around the 12th to 17 range in terms of where to expect them. Just when you look at the schedule, it's tough, but I think they'll be fine at inside linebacker. I think they'll be fine at safety. I think the defensive line's good. I worry a little bit about the corners. They're going to need some guys to step up. Maybe Bless Austin can prove that he's a good starting outside corner. That would be great. I think they're good in the slot. My another big concern is edge. I don't expect Jordan Jenkins to give you 8 sacks again. If he does, that's about all he's going to give you. On the other side, it's a huge rotation of players that we don't really know too well. It could be Basham, it could be Kyle Phillips, it could be a bunch of different guys. So we'll see what they do there, but I'm not confident in edge rusher, and corner is definitely a little bit shaky for me. So we'll look to see how that does this year. But Greg Williams is a really good coach. He's proven that he can elevate talent, something that Adam Gase hasn't proven. So I think the defensive rankings is going to be around 12 to 17. And, that's a mediocre team. If your offense is around, let's say, even on the high end, if your offense is 20th in the league and your defense is 12th in the league, then you're probably looking at a 500 record, which is where I have them. Or if you're at the 25 ranked offense, which is a bad offense, and a 17th ranked defense, which is an okay defense, then you're probably going 7-9 or worse. That's the way that I see it. I really don't think this team is going to be one that's pushing for a playoff spot, even with the seventh, the next wild card spot, the seventh seed being available. And I also don't think they're going to be a top 5 pick. I think they're looking probably somewhere around the 10th pick in the draft for this year at about 7-9. I think that's the way that I see it. Who knows? I could be wrong on either end of the spectrum. I'm hoping that they are a good team. I would love it if Adam Gase proves that he's not as stubborn as we think he is, that he's able to get, a lot out of these guys. And who knows? The X factor really could be Sam Darnold. If he just takes that leap and is throwing for 4,400 yards and hitting 30 touchdown passes, they probably win more games than they should, which would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's it for me in terms of my realistic view. And we're going to get into the voicemails now. All right, first question comes from Phil. He's calling from Buffalo, so let's hear from Phil.
Hello, Matt O'Leary. My name is Philip Jackson. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm a Jets fan. I'm not with Buffalo. I just had a comment on basically a video you posted 9 hours ago as of this time. And you know what? What I just got to say, though, as far as our offense, if Sam Darnold is supposed to be the star that everybody thinks he's supposed to be, it shouldn't matter what receiver we got in. As long as he's getting that time from the offensive line, then we should be great. That's it. He should be making plays. He should be doing what the star is supposed to do. There's enough excuses for him. It's his 3rd year. If he doesn't do it this year, he should just go. He should just go. If you got the line that's going to block, everybody want to be big on Sam Darnold. He's really not doing too much for us. That's all I had to say.
Thank you for the question, Phil. Obviously passionate about Darnold. I think it's more complicated than that. It's not as black and white. It's not as simple as just he hasn't done it yet for this team. He missed 3. He was a rookie, obviously, a couple of years ago, and he missed 3 games with an injury. He had mono last year. Who gets mono? That's so unheard of. It's very difficult to sit here after 26 career starts and say that he's not the guy because of whatever circumstances you want to say. I think he's shown, my takes remain pretty consistent. I think he's shown flashes of being very, very good. And I think I look at those flashes and say, he can put that together. You're more likely to see him put that together than just be an absolute dumpster fire. And I don't think this line is perfect. It's not like he has a top 10 offensive line now. He probably went somewhere from like the worst offensive line in football, so 32, up to maybe 22. And it's not as black and white as, oh, well, if he's a superstar, he should be able to make the guys around him better. Well, I mean, you look at the superstar quarterbacks in this league, they still have talent around them. Like, Pat Mahomes has Travis Kelce. He has Tyreek Hill. He has a lot of talent on that offensive side of the ball. It's not as simple as, okay, well, this is a really good quarterback. He should make my team really good. No, it doesn't work like that. You need other pieces. You need a really good offensive line. A 22nd ranked offensive line isn't really good. It's an improvement, but it still needs work. And really, you only have Chris Herndon, who he had like a nice connection with at the end of his rookie year, but there's question marks there. His number 1 receiver had like 5 good weeks in the NFL in 2019, and now everyone's saying that he's a number 1 receiver. Denzel Mims, who, again, I really like Denzel Mims, but he's a second-round rookie starting. Jamison Crowder's a solid slot guy. There's not a lot of offensive weapons on this team. I really disagree. I don't think that we can come in and expect Sam to just be, a dominant force at 23 years old in the NFL. It's very rare that someone comes in and is just a freak athlete and an amazing player with an awful situation around them. Because let's not sugarcoat this. The Jets situation that they put around Sam Darnold has been terrible. And he hasn't been able to overcome that yet, but there's enough talent for me to think that he can be a good starting quarterback in this league. So I'm going to disagree with Phil. Next up is Anthony from Ronkonkoma, and he wants to talk about training camp and who I'm high on from training camp.
Hey, Matt. It's Anthony from Ronkonkoma. Love the show, man. So listen, I've been seeing all the reports from training camp all these last couple weeks, but especially the last week or so. all the negative reports coming out. People are injured. Bell isn't happy with reps. I saw today Williamson apparently is playing second team.
Yeah, that's
I don't
weird.
know why that would be the case. But normally I feel like the Jets have a lot of very positive things said around training camp, and then they don't come to fruition. So with all this happening, who are some people that you think that you're kind of high on in this training camp? I'll let you go, and thanks, man. Keep it going. Bye.
Thank you so much for the question. I think it's a good one. There's two names to me when you're saying the question that came to mind. The first, I'll go with the one who maybe isn't as obvious, which is LaMichael Pirine. He's probably going to be the third string running back on this team, but I think as early as next year, he's going to be RB2. Supposedly, he's done really well and looks like one of the more consistent backs, more so than Le'Veon Bell, which is a little bit scary. But I think that he is someone who is going to be like a Bilal Powell light for this team going forward. I mean, you look at what Bilal was able to do for the Jets for almost a freaking decade. Like, it was unbelievable. He was a really good depth player on this team, and I think we're going to see that as well with Pirine. And the next guy is Sam Darnold, and I know that that's kind of the chalk answer, but there's been some positive, there's been some negative with Sam Darnold from camp. He's had good days, he has had bad days. But what I like, and I continue to hear time and time again, was he had more command out there. Like, he was more from a leadership perspective, which is good, which is very, very good. And when you're trying to get a development of a young player, I think that is huge. I think it's tremendous. And to me, that's going to be the big thing this year is how much of a leadership role does he take on? And I think him being able to do that is what makes me really impressed. On the defensive side of the ball, maybe I'll say Quinnen. There's been some stuff earlier on with him, but I just think he's going to be a more well-rounded player this year in year two. So I have high expectations for Quinnen Williams. Sam Darnold's kind of the obvious one. And then just in terms of camp, I think LaMichael Pirine's had a good camp, and I expect him to be, a good depth running back on this team for a few years. So thank you for the question, Anthony. Next up is Travis. And Travis from Ohio wants to talk about Adam Gase's offense.
Hey, Matt. Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy. Just your thoughts with all the injuries on offense, which means our buddy Greg Williams is beating out the Adam Gase's
Seems that way.
offense. That's really what's happening right now. Anyway, with all the injuries on offense, guess what? We had tons of injuries on defense last year, and we've had our best players opt out or traded on defense last year. So the thing is, everybody expects Greg Williams to coach those guys up, right, on defense. And we've been banking on it. I mean, I'm guilty as hell too, But Adam Gase is the offensive guru that he says he is. And, he has to do the same thing on his side. And nobody's
right.
talking about that. Go with two tight end sets. Griffin and Herndon.
Agree.
I want to see that.
Me too. Good.
With running backs in the slot or whatever. Or go 4 wide with Le'Veon and P. Ryan, and we'll see what we got, Anyway, Williams gets a pass because he's a guru. Gase should not, and he's supposedly a guru, and that's my only point. So, love ya. You know I do. And F Jamal Adams. And stay healthy, please.
Yes, you too.
And love all the content. And bye.
Appreciate it as always. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that you were still talking. Appreciate it as always, Travis. Really appreciate it. I think you made a lot of good points in there. Adam Gase does have a lot of work to do with this offense. There's no denying it. It was bad last year. hopefully, knock on wood, cross your fingers and toes, whatever you got to do. Sam Darnold plays a 16-game season. That should help. The Jets came on strong in terms of the win-loss column. The offense still kind of struggled down the stretch, but I'm hoping that with a fully healthy Sam Darnold, that he should be able to mitigate some of the problems that Adam Gase had last year. I also really do believe that they should use 2 tight ends if Ryan Griffin is fully healthy and good to go, because well, let's face it, Chris Herndon is really, really good. In my eyes, Chris Herndon is the best receiver that Sam Darnold will have this year. And what I mean by receiver, obviously he plays the tight end position. I think he is going to go to him in big spots. He's very comfortable throwing to the tight end. And I really expect big things from Herndon. I think he's going to get a ton of targets. I think he's going to be really good in this offense. I would use Le'Veon Bell in the slot or line him up outside. Get the ball in his hands in space. Let him do things. Don't continue to run him in the A gap on first down for 1 yard and then do it again on 2nd and 9. And next thing you know, it's 3rd and 8 with your 22, 23-year-old quarterback. It's stupid. And I'm fine with Frank Gore getting some reps. I'm just afraid that Frank Gore is going to, in some weeks, is going to get more reps than Le'Veon Bell, which is going to drive me nuts when has 10 carries for 23 yards, and we're going, what the hell is happening here? But I think the Jets have potential. I just am a little bit worried in terms of how Adam Gase is going to use his personnel. And I think if he, does get creative, like Travis was saying, it could work. It's not going to be, just line up and play offense in order for this, to become a good unit. I think he's going to have to use the 2 tight end sets, have multiple running backs on the field at the same time, and get the ball in space and pick up the pace. They never run enough plays. It's just slow, methodical, boring offenses, and I would really like it to continue to implement the speed, which is Joe Douglas loves speed, which is good. That's the way the NFL is going. So hopefully Joe Douglas gets his hands on that a little bit. But thank you for the question, Travis. I definitely agree with you there. Next up is Phil, and he wants to talk about the Jets' win-loss total.
Hey, Matt, it's Phil from Brooklyn, New York. I have 2 questions. One question is, there's one guy I've always loved on this team. He got cut. His name is Deontay Burnett, right?
Oh, okay.
Wide receiver, played with Sam in USC also. He had some big games, especially against Chicago. I really want to bring him back. I don't think JD is, but I think he would be huge if he could. So let me know what you think about that. But also, I see some people saying that the Jets are going to get the first overall pick, right?
No, I don't see it.
2 wins top. I can't see it happening, Matt. I really can't. I think maybe 5 to 6 is fair, but they're saying 3 to 4. I don't see it. Let me know what you think, though, and love the videos, and go Jets.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling in. I was just looking it up while you were asking your question. Supposedly, Deontay Burnett is on the Eagles practice squad. He was okay with the Jets. I don't think it's necessarily oh my God, they need to bring him back and he'll solve their issues. He was okay. He was fine. That's really my take on that. He doesn't really move the needle for me one way or the other. As far as the record goes, I don't think they're going to be picking in the top 5. I'd be really surprised. I know that's the cool thing to say and to bang on the Jets and say, oh, they're going to be looking to draft a quarterback and they're going to go 3-13 or 4-12. Yes, the schedule is tough, but I see them winning 7 or 8 games. I'm sticking by that, and I think that's realistic. If they were able to do it 7-9 last year with a much worse team, I know the schedule is harder, but I think they can go 7-9 again. I really think that's the number there, 7-9. So thank you for the question, Phil. Last one's from Vinny from Connecticut. Wants to talk about trading within the division and if that's a good thing or not.
Hey, Matt, this is Vinny in Connecticut calling. My question today is, how do you feel about lately the Jets making trades within the division? I'm old school, and I, always used to go by the cardinal rule that you'd never, ever, ever trade within the division. I mean, they had a bust of a trade with Balaj with Miami. Then they had the one in the draft with New England where they moved up for Morgan, which I didn't understand that pick at all, but I'll let you elaborate. And, of course, the one for Demaryius Thomas, which almost looked like a one-year rental, and they don't even look like they want him anymore. But Love to hear your take, and really quick before I let you go, I want to thank you. You inspired me to start my own podcast, so forgive me
Awesome.
for pulling a plug here, but if
No,
you
go
and your
for it.
viewers get a chance, check out Vinny and the Jets. It's very raw, but you're part of the reason that I started it, and I gave you a shout-out on my first episode. Sorry I had to, but have a good day. Go Jets.
That's awesome, Vinny. I love that. That's so cool. Oh my God, that just made my day. Thank you for telling me that. Definitely, I'm gonna check it out. As far as wow, that was really cool. As far as the trading within the division goes, hated the Morgan pick. You guys know that. It depends on me. I understand not wanting to help your division improve. It depends on the deal. I don't want to say universally yes or universally no. I think it depends, which again, that's a really chalk answer. That's not great. But why are you trading for Kalen Balazs? That doesn't make any sense. Don't trade for a bad running back. You could sign a running back. You could sign Bilal Powell, who's fine. Demaryius Thomas was last year. He was a body. I don't know. And yeah, the trading up for Morgan thing, I don't know. I don't understand that at all. Anyway, I don't really have a one uniform answer. I think it depends on the circumstances. Like you're not going to trade Jamal Adams within the division, for obvious reasons. But if you can, trade back, I don't know. That doesn't really. It doesn't matter too much to me. It doesn't. I don't have like a definitive answer. Obviously, you're not going to trade like an impact player in the division, but if you want to do a pick swap in the draft or trade for some depth that like might actually make sense, I'm not talking like Demaryius Thomas or Kalen Balazs, then it doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. But that's it for this week. It was a little bit of a shorter episode. I know it's coming out a little bit later. That's on me. Enjoying the Labor Day weekend before the season ramps right back up. But I'm looking forward to this season of NFL football and you guys coming along with me for the ride. It's going to be an absolute blast. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.